Hello and welcome to another one of Scoutadelic's Scouting at Home videos. Today's Tuesday, which makes it Tasty Tuesday. Now, some of you will be out there thinking, hang on, that's not Mike, what's going on here? Well, my name's Sean. I've helped Mike out with a few different projects, and today I've been so inspired by his videos, I thought, let's just give it a go. So I've taken over Tasty Tuesdays for this week, okay? I'm going to share with you one of my favourite baking recipes. I love baking, okay? Not so much like normal cooking, but baking cakes, cookies, things like that is one of my passions in my spare time when I'm not scouting. So today I'm going to share with you my double chocolate cookie recipe, okay? It links to loads of badges, which you'll see below, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. But let me tell you what goes into my very special cookies. Okay, so we put a bit of cocoa powder in there, we've got milk chocolate, we've got some glacé cherries, some caster sugar, some butter, an egg yolk, plain flour, and just a pinch of salt, okay? Now, watching me weigh all of this out and chopping all that up is going to be super boring, so we're going to do some video magic. So 1, 2, 3, done. Awesome, come on, let's have a look and see what I've done. So I've got all the ingredients chopped up, but before I go through with you how much of everything we've got, you need to go and put your oven on about 190 degrees C or gas mark 5, depending on what you're using. So somewhere around there, and you'll also need to line some baking trays with some baking paper. So I've just used greaseproof paper, but sometimes people have got those awesome silicone mats if you're looking to reuse, which is brilliant. I'm saving up for some, but get all that done before, that way when you've made your mixture, and you can just whack it straight in the oven and you're good to go. Right then, so here's our ingredients all chopped up and ready to go. In one bowl I have some butter and some sugar. So I've got some softened butter, so I've just left it out on the side for a couple of hours to make sure it's nice and soft and squidgy, and we've got 225 grams of that. And I've also got in that bowl some caster sugar, so it's nice and fine, and there's 140 grams of that, okay? We've also got some really nice cocoa powder there, okay? You don't need a lot of that, just 25 grams. All right, we've also got a pinch of salt, you can see right in the bottom there. 1 egg yolk, and that's got some vanilla essence in there as well, vanilla extract, sorry, 2 teaspoons. Make it nice and tasty. This bowl is really nice, I like it. It's got some glacé cherries and some chocolate, okay? I've used milk chocolate, but if you like something a little bit more bitter, you can go with just plain chocolate. And there are 350 grams of chocolate in there, and I've chopped it up quite chunky, but you can go a little bit thinner if you want to. And the same with the cherries, and we've got 55 grams of those dried, those glacé cherries in there, all right? The great thing about cookies is you can tailor them to your taste, so if you want to use different ones, you can go for it. And lastly, in this bowl, we have some plain flour, okay? So we don't need self-raising, just plain. And you need to sift it before you put it through, so you've got nice and light and airy, okay? And you'll need 250 grams of that, all right? Before I start baking, I like to do all this bit, so when I get to making it, I can just get on with it, okay, which I think is really good. So now we've got all our ingredients chopped and our ovens on, and we have got our baking trays laying, we can get down to the actual fun bit, the cooking bit. So step 1, we've got our butter and our sugar in here, and we've been and washed our hands, which is all good, okay? So we need to mix this sugar and butter together. As you can see, I've left my butter out for a while, so it's nice and soft, not quite melted. So we need to beat this together, okay? It can be a bit hard at first, but don't give up, be patient. Okay, can you see it's all starting to mix there? And we're going to do that for a little bit until it's all mixed. Okay, so it's coming together nicely now. As you can see, it's that one big, just looks like slightly fluffy butter. Nice, okay. So our step after that is we need to beat in the egg yolk and our vanilla extract that we've had waiting on the side there. So I've got my trusty spatula, because mine's broken. So scrape it all in because we don't want to miss any of this good stuff. Okay. Now my vanilla extract I like to get is really strong. You need to use a bit less of it, but it makes it nice and tasty. Okay. So now we've got our egg and our butter and our vanilla in there. We need to beat this all together. Okay. Okay, and all together. It's looking a little bit. There we go. So you can see everything's mixed up. You can't see those individual parts. And looking really nice. Okay, now we get to add our flour and our cocoa powder. Okay, to do that, we need to sift it in there. That's to make sure there's no lumps or anything in it. Okay, so we make sure it's okay. I like to do it in stages to make sure that everything is mixed in well. Okay, so I'm going to put a couple of these in. Couple of flour. Now I've already sifted both of these. I like to do it twice because I like to make sure it's definitely no big lumps in it, and it just makes your life a little bit easier, I think, when we get to the actual mixing. So you don't have to beat it as hard if there's no lumps in it. Awesome. Okay, so there's my first part. Now, then we get it all mixed up. Okay, more mess you make, the more fun you're having. Okay, so awesome. So it takes a little bit to kind of make sure it's all getting in. Just use the back of the spoon there to kind of push it all together. As you can see, it'll start combining slowly but surely, and you just need to use a bit of elbow grease. Okay, there we go. You see, we started to get that together a little bit more. And what we're going to do is we're going to keep adding the flour and the cocoa powder until it's all mixed together and we can't see any of that butter. Okay. Okay, so as you can see, everything has started to come together now. I've mixed all that sugar, butter, we've had the cocoa powder, the pinch of salt, the egg and the vanilla extract. We've mixed it all together and we've got this slightly crumbly kind of dough almost. So it's really important to make sure you scrape everything off the sides and make sure it's all mixed in and it's all this wonderful sort of dark chocolate colour. Okay, now we get to add our chocolate chips and our sour and our glacé cherries. Okay, so we're going to throw all of that in. Okay, we're going to make sure it's mixed through. Okay, really important that is, so we don't get one cookie that's just full of everything and another cookie without anything. So we're going to make sure we get that, mix that in. Okay, so yeah, get in there. This is going to give some elbow grease, so if you're looking to, you know, get some fitness for the day, making cookies, a perfect way to doing it. Lots of elbow grease going in there. Obviously still go for walks and things. It's not just gonna sort your fitness out. All right, can you see it's starting to kind of put together there? So we've got our chocolate and our cherries all mixed in there now, nice spread out. I like to get my hands in towards the end and mix it up to make sure it's good. Okay, but as always, make sure you wash them first and after. Okay, I found this point while it's in there, I just like to leave it for a little bit to kind of settle and make sure it hasn't got too warm so the chocolate doesn't start melting, and it is a super time to get some of the sides clean. So if you're like me and think more mess equals more fun, you've probably got a lot of flour places, so get it cleaned up now and all ready for the next bit. When we're ready to move on, we're going to need a tablespoon, okay, and our mixture. Now this mixture makes about 30 cookies if you use the tablespoon kind of measurements for them. But if you like bigger cookies, go a little bit bigger, just make sure they've got space on the tray. Or if you like smaller cookies, you can make little bite-sized ones. But today I'm going to stick with my tablespoon. So what you're going to do, okay, so in there we get a tablespoon of mixture. All right, so I like to go something like that, okay, and it's good to measure it to make sure your cookies get equal. All right, so with this mixture, going to get it together and we're going to roll it into a ball. Okay, so depending on how chunky your chocolate is, that's going to be harder or not to get it nice and even, but when we've got a nice kind of ball like that, we're looking good. I'm going to put those on a tray all lined up with enough space because they're going to spread a little bit. Okay, so let's get going. Okay, so I've just got about 12 out here at the moment. Okay, I can't fit any more in my oven at one time, so I like to do them in 2 bakes. So I'll just get on with these 12, but I've rolled them all into balls of roughly the same size. I'm not a complete perfectionist. These are made at home. I'm not trying to make them look professional. I just want to have a good time and be able to give some people cookies at the end of it. But you can spend as long or as little time as making them as perfect as possible. Completely up to you. But once we've got our rolls on here, we just need to flatten them slightly. Don't go over the top, but we're just starting off that process. So when they cook in the oven and they start to spread, they go in the kind of shape that we want, and those chocolate pieces are going to start to melt. And because I like them quite chunky, they kind of stay, so they're a bit ooey gooey as well. Alright, so we just kind of see that we're pressing them down a little bit. Okay, so now we need to get these in the oven. They're going to be cooking for 12 to 15 minutes, okay, at that 190. But all ovens are different, okay, so you know how yours works best. So that's a ballpark figure, but if you know your oven cooks really quickly or really slowly, just go with whatever that is. Okay, so let's get these in. Yeah, 1 and 2. So I'm going to check on these after about 10 minutes to make sure, because we don't want to overcook them. So let's come back in a minute. Okay, so our cookies have been in for about 12 minutes. So let's see how they're doing. Oh, look at them. They are about done. Look, ooh, looking good. I like mine quite gooey, so I don't like them overdone. If you cook them longer, they go crispier or they go gooier. I think they are pretty spot on for what I like. So I'm going to leave them on the tray for about 5-10 minutes to cool down. It's really important that you leave them on the tray for a bit, otherwise if you try and move them too soon, they are still really gooey and soft and they will go bleh. So leave them on there for 10 minutes and then we'll transfer them onto a wire rack. Okay, so our cookies have been on our tray for about 10 minutes now, so I'm going to use this small palette knife to help me move them over. So here we go. Fingers crossed they're out. They are all on there, and we need to let them finish cooling now for another, well, I'd say another 10 minutes depending on your air temperature. And then we can get them into a nice tin to keep them nice and gooey for longer. And there you have it, your double chocolate cookies. Keep them in a nice box like this with an airtight lid, and they'll last for a few days. Well, they'll last for a week if you can help yourself not eating them all at once. I love this cookie recipe. It's a really nice one, and I love the fact with just cookies and anything like this in general, if you don't like cherries, skip them. You like some nuts, throw them in instead. You can really tailor this to what you like, okay? And they smell awesome. So go out there, make your own cookies. Great thing about this is go and give them to your neighbours, making sure you're doing it safe and looking after yourself, but it's a really nice gift to give somebody else. Okay, little random act of kindness. Go and drop them on their door, knock on the door and run away, or leave a little card in. Okay, we can still reach out to people and we can still have an impact into their lives, even though we can't spend all that time together. I think what better way to do that than cookies. Thank you so much for watching my Tasty Tuesday takeover. Okay, I hope you've had some good ideas. Hope you have a go at those cookies. Share the videos with Mike at Scoutadelic. Don't forget to tag him. And if you have enjoyed it, he's got loads of other videos like this. So go back through the back catalogue, have a look and give them a go. Okay, just because we're at home doesn't mean you should stop scouting. Okay. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you very much.
So your quote of the day is, sometimes the smallest of things take up the most room in your heart. If you've liked this video, then obviously give it a thumbs up, share it, subscribe to the channel, because I'm not. I'm having a week off. It's great. Hopefully you've liked it. There is some more happening tomorrow. Otherwise, I'll see you next week. Bye.